Hey guys, welcome to Stories from the Shed. This is Jake. I don't normally do intros, but we're going to see how this goes. To my right, we have our other co-host, Adam.
Hello.
Hello. I'm going to call you the man who stumbles over his words, his stairs, and his own 2 feet.
That's
How about that? Does that work?
That works. Especially this late and this deep in the beers as I am.
Yeah, we're just getting done recording. What did we record?
You're a
Matt
fucking
Hoffman.
more deep than I am.
Listen,
Matt
I'm
Hoffman.
like 26 beers deep
So,
now.
Yeah, we just did Matt Hoffman. We said, you know what? Let's keep the mics rolling. We'll maybe just
See what goes on.
see what goes on here.
Also to my right, Ashton.
Hello.
Hola. Bring it a little bit closer. There we go.
How you been
That's
since
better.
that last beer break?
Doing pretty good.
So yeah, we just figured maybe we could do a little something right now off the normal topic. We'll call it. What are we going to call this?
We'll call it Uncapped.
Uncapped. This is an Uncapped episode part 1.
These are going to be one of those things. We've gotten a lot of requests. Well, Adam's gotten a lot of requests. I'm not a local celebrity, but Adam seems to be. We've gotten a lot of requests for a Patreon account, some extra stuff. Hoodies. You guys seem to be really interested. Wow, holy crap. That didn't feel good. It's them 29 beers. You guys seem to be interested, so figured we'd try something different. What do you plan on doing with this? Because I'm walking into this
Does that
just about
number
as
seem to
blind
be
as you
jumping?
Yeah, it keeps jumping.
The number of beers he's had.
are. Yeah. So you noticed that?
I have.
Ah, okay.
So I don't know how many you really had.
Well, right now I'm working on 37.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
See how it jumped again?
This math is terrible.
It's a good thing he sleeps in the shed.
Because
He
I've
won't
had
be going too far.
45 beers. That's why my math sucks.
Whoa.
No, you know what I was thinking with this was that
45 beers is a lot.
if for sure, yeah. No, but if people keep asking us to set up a Patreon and doing stuff like that, if we do that, we got to come up with some extra content,
Some extra stuff to make you do some of this, maybe.
Well, hopefully,
Was that a person throwing up? God, he needs some Pepto-Bismol.
yeah, my poor kid had the flu today, so.
Yeah, poor kid.
But anyways, people were saying that we should set up a Patreon and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, I've done some side research and whatever, and I found some interesting information going on here in the state of Maine. I was thinking, well, maybe we could put together maybe an extra series. We call it a mini series. I don't know how many episodes it's going to come out to. Maybe it just would be 3, 6, might be 10. And instead of having different guests for that, maybe we find another person that could commit to doing a lot of the research and a lot of the looking up and getting the finer, really putting together something that we release just for Patreon.
Are you trying to subcontract our work?
Well, you know
we're
what?
like 15 episodes in.
No. But hear this out. There's a lot of like finer stuff, and when I'm talking like maybe trying to contact people in these areas still, and it's a lot of work for 2 guys that have regular day jobs, have other things going on. But if we could somehow figure things out, we could maybe put together like a mini series.
A secretary.
A schedutary.
A shed. She can set up our schedule.
A schedule.
Right.
This is a shedocracy.
Oh, okay. This is a new type of government that I've never heard of before.
But you know what I mean? We could come up with something kind of for just Patreon customers. And I've done some research where if you look at the state of Maine and you look at unsolved homicides,
Mm-hmm.
the state's peppered with a few from when they started keeping track of that kind of information. But there's a high concentration of it that seems like it's kind of in the Farmington and Franklin County area.
Really? Like where we go hiking?
Well, yes, the mountains, the beautiful.
Okay.
I love that part of the state. You know, Ashton, you've done a few hikes with us.
Yeah, we did North and South Crocker. It was us 3 and then another one of our friends, right?
John, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a great hike. Yeah.
That was a fun time.
So I do get out into the cold, just so people know.
Oh yeah, he's been here for almost 2 hours now, freezing his ass off with us. So.
Not even complaining.
No,
surprise
not one
with,
complaint.
A little more recording, but there's a high concentration of homicides that are unsolved in that area, and what's funny is that there's a lot of similarities, in my opinion, between these homicides. You know, almost like somebody might have had some kind of a motive or an MO.
This is all starting to come back to me now. I feel like we've discussed this before.
We did.
Doing like the little mini series, trying to piece together these.
And you know what? There's
things.
also if you also look at information based on unsolved missing people, so homicides, they found a body and they haven't been able to identify the killer. Missing person, somebody just poof vanished, and a lot, the time frame that I'm finding, it's very interesting. So you have these people that are looked at as runaways, but who's to say they actually ran away? And a high concentration of those people, the same area where there's a high concentration of homicides.
So what do you think? You sound like you're onto something. What do you got?
What I'm saying is that if you take all the unsolved homicides in the state of Maine and all the unsolved disappearances in the state of Maine, and you overlay them on a map. Let's say you took all the homicides and wrote them in red, and you took all the missing persons and you wrote them in blue, and you on transparent paper, and you overlapped them for the state of Maine. That area, it has such a high concentration, and there's hardly anybody that lives there. It's not like Portland. It's not like Southern Maine. It's not Lewiston, area.
Is it a area where people frequently travel through?
Bro, yeah, that's about it. I mean, you went hiking with us. Think about it. Where we went hiking, how many people did you see in that part
There
of the
was a
state?
lot of people. Well, there wasn't a lot of people going there, but once we got up on the mountain, there were more people than you would expect.
Well, no, but I'm saying it's not a highly populated area of the state to have so many homicides and disappearances that are not solved.
Right.
I mean, you could see a city area like Portland or Lewiston, Auburn having a higher number because you have a higher number of people.
So let me ask you this. Are the people who are going missing, are those people from the town or are those people random hikers?
They're residents. And a lot of them, get this, and of these cases, if you take it from like 1975 till about 1995-ish, which is 20 years, that's when this all happened. And the majority of them are male. They're males like 25 to 35 in age, and a lot of them are found on the side of the road. Now, what I'm interested in looking up is, let's say we take one of these cases.
Okay.
And we dig into it, and you see that there's a silver Ford involved. And then maybe we continue to research some of the other cases, and you see that somebody says, oh, we witnessed a silver Ford driving off. I want to see if maybe we can find some similarities, take every single one of these, look into them as much as we can, not necessarily take an hour to talk about one of these people, but maybe take an hour to talk about a string of them over that period of time.
Oh, okay.
And
That
see
would
if
make sense.
maybe we can put together something. Are these coincidence? What are the odds that there's 30 people that were either murdered or disappeared that nobody has found any information on?
Yep. That's not a bad idea.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Some different ideas. What do you think, man?
As far as
Something
what
like
we're going
that.
to do with extra content?
Yeah,
Seems like a good idea. It's a good place to start, I think.
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, right.
But if anybody's got any ideas, definitely let us know on our email, which we'll plug at the end of this.
Oh, for sure.
Jake, do you have any ideas? I know it's maybe not so much on the episode ideas, but you have some shed upgrade ideas, or maybe you do have episode ideas that have rolled through your mind as you're doing your day job.
I got some shed update ideas.
Do you?
Okay.
Yeah, like maybe some more heat. Cause,
This is the first time you've complained. You've done so well.
you know what? Because during one of the breaks, I stepped in some snow and my feet are freezing. So
Yeah, that'll do it.
Mm. Let's see that.
What do you got, Jake? What's your thoughts on
On shed upgrades, story ideas, what are we talking
podcast
here?
work? What are we doing here?
Podcast-wise?
We're just talking here. We're just having a talk.
So a real idea is not to cut you off, but I just happened to mention the shed episode tonight to a few people, and one person suggested that maybe we open a phone line.
Are you talking about the Matt Hoffman one?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
this girl.
the phone line idea.
Yeah, someone had to open a phone line that way they could call in, but.
That's
You
not
know,
a bad
we
idea.
threw around the idea of going live, right?
Yeah, we threw that idea around when we were recording Matt Hoffman.
That'd be a
I
good
would
thing to ask some fans, right? You know,
Yeah.
what do they think about the idea of maybe us going live for a show, you know?
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to try that.
Maybe set up
we
some
can-
kind of cameras and give a specific time when we
Right.
could do that. I mean,
Right. We just set it up a couple days in advance, or maybe like when the episode comes out Monday, because they all come out Monday at midnight. I do that on purpose for you guys so that when you wake up in the morning, your phone has either automatically downloaded it like mine, or you have the notification that says, hey, there's a new episode. You go to work Monday morning, it's already on your phone, you're ready to go. I really think that's a good release schedule. But if you guys would like that to change, I guess, just let us know. But I feel like that works out really well.
I guess what he's saying is that we're doing this podcast for you. And if there's anything that we can do to improve any aspect of it.
Okay, well, let's not completely bullshit. We're doing it for us, too,
Well, we're doing
because
it
we
for
like
us.
doing it.
But we do like the suggestions, and we do
Right.
like the recommendations, and we do make changes where people make sense.
Right.
Suggest a beer to us, even. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Suggest
give us
more
new
than one
beers.
beer.
Right.
Yeah.
Give us something new to drink. I really like this way that I've been going, because before it used to just be all white trash, garbage, twisted tea. I would come over, and any of you guys could ask us, or even look at Adam and just be like, how much does this guy really drink? And I would show up with like 3 or 4 of these fucking things and throw them in the fridge.
think
And
they
that was
know.
that.
What he's saying is they're the 24-ounce
Yeah,
cans.
so I'd show up with 3 or 4 of them. I'd have 2, and I'd be like, oh, this is great. And I'm surprised you haven't cut me off before.
Well, now that we're drinking quality, you only need like... And
Oh,
I know
yeah.
people think that we're drinking a lot of beer on the show. Let's clear this up.
Right. We're not actually drinking 47 beers. I think I'm at like 63 tonight,
I think
personally.
You are, yeah.
But all joking aside, we drink
was that,
a beer
75,
or
right?
two.
Yeah, exactly. We buy a 6-pack between you, me, and whoever the guest happens to be that week.
guests,
You know?
yeah. So that's kind of one thing that some people have said, oh, geez, how many beers are you guys drinking? I joke around, but well, no, we're only just having a couple of beers. But,
Right. These recordings actually, just, I guess, behind the scenes, these recordings take anywhere from an hour to 2.5. What was the longest recording we've done as far as like being here in the shed? 2.5, 3 hours, something like that.
It seemed like the missile
A long
silo
time.
one was quite a while.
That one was a lot. That one was just a lot of information and a lot of trying to tell a really big story, and there were so many names.
West Memphis 3 was
That was a big one, but that was really fun. I really liked that one a lot.
You know, here's an episode suggestion that Ashton and I had talked about. There was a kid, I can't remember what state he was in, but he was found rolled up in wrestling mats in a high school.
Holy shit.
And they said, now here's the thing, they said it was accidental death, that he had done it on him, you know, that he'd gone in there, rolled. Think about it, you know, when you were a kid, rolled up mats.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would
He'd
do.
climbed in there, but there was some kind of weird stuff, like his shoes.
His shoes weren't on.
Or they were thrown in at the head, like his body was in there, and they were tossing at the head, almost like somebody else tossed
There
them
was
in there.
blood found,
Huh.
right?
Yeah,
Huh.
and the family still doesn't believe that it was a suicide or an accidental death, and so it's
Well, they're
kind
in
of
denial. No, I'm kidding.
well, no, it's kind of a weird story, and a lot of times with kids, especially in inner cities, they just kind of dismiss things real quick
Right.
when it's
They
not
wrap it up really quick. And
right, open and shut, right.
sadly, it takes the family putting pressure on the police department for them to really get an investigation going.
That's been a real theme in the podcast, too. Look at Kimberly Moreau.
Yeah,
Look how... the hell's his name? I'm sorry, I forget. What's the dad's name?
Dick Morrow.
Dick Moreau. Look how hard he had to push the cops in that area to do something, and he's got posters up 35 years later.
Yeah.
You know?
Very sad. It's not to say anything bad about the police department, but...
Right, but sometimes they need to be encouraged, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, you know, we will have said negative things about the police. Not necessarily negative.
It's
but
mainly
not-
you.
Well, you know what?
I just want to make that clear.
a lot
Please
of
do
time-
not arrest me. This is
Listen,
not the sound I
if he's
need to
pointing
hear
out-
outside my door.
If he's
You
pointing
know what I'm
out the
saying?
facts, you know,
right.
Yeah, you talk
Right.
a lot of shit about the police, is what
it
I'm
isn't
saying.
his fault that on paper it says that they do some very weak work.
Or that they did X, Y, and Z, and that they did not do it.
Right.
Right.
No, you're right. You were right.
You know, but
It's a
again,
murder we're talking about. They're trying to, we're solving a murder, not
Right.
and again, to
Right.
go back to the one that we just did, that was one that the police did a great job.
Oh yeah,
Right.
they did.
And that actually leads
4
perfectly.
days wrapped
The-
it up in 4
the young
days.
lady
Yeah.
could have been killed. She could
Yeah,
maybe not be
saved
with
her
us.
Right.
life.
Well, I think after watching Iron Man 1 and 2 for the next however long week and a half, I'd want to fucking die too. Like, can I watch something else, please?
I don't think you have the respect for Robert Downey Jr.
What's
that
your
the rest of
issue?
us
I
do.
don't.
What's with this?
I don't have a hate for it, but it's like, okay, so back in the day when you actually had to buy CDs, right?
Right.
You would get a CD and you would listen to it for a month straight because it's the new CD. It's what you've been waiting for to come out.
Okay.
All you want to hear. I feel like after that month, you don't want to touch it for 6 more And I feel like it would be the same way with movies. You watch a movie for a week straight, you're like, oh my fucking God, I can recite this movie word for word.
My parents used to make me watch, not make me watch, but let me watch Terminator 2 from when I was like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, they would strap you to the bed.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
leaves.
Dude. Fucking Clockwork Orange style with the eye clips, keeping my eyes open.
Oh, for sure.
And you know what? I still love that shit.
Oh, I'm sure
still
you do.
putting on Terminator 2.
Yeah, I came in
Judgment
and you
Day.
were watching it on when I got
I
here
tell you
this,
what,
tonight.
I still love
Dude,
Clockwork Orange. I watched that the other day.
Did you really?
I did.
That's a good one too.
It is a good one.
Robert O'Toole or whatever his name is. He's in that.
Movie.
Is he a tool or is his name Tool?
He's a
O'Toole.
doucher in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right. That's
that
fair.
nice guy. But yeah. So the weather is about to improve in this area.
Thank God.
Daylight savings times this weekend on March 10th.
That was the weirdest transition ever. Yeah. So how's the weather?
Well, no. Well, no. I mean,
did I just meet you tonight?
things are gonna warm up. Might be a little bit easier to get out here and maybe
Wait,
record a
so
few more episodes. Now that we're gonna have more
We
daylight.
get an
It'll be
extra
fun.
hour of sleep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
More
spring
daylight.
No,
Nice.
no, we lose an hour. It's spring forward.
You sure?
Yes.
No.
Yes. So what is it? Tomorrow night we have to change the clocks over.
Sunday.
Sunday. I'm thinking we should release this one tomorrow,
Really?
just as an extra. See how it goes.
See how it goes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Surprise.
And that at least that way when it comes out, they won't be like, "Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Change the clocks, idiot! You guys just changed your clocks 2 weeks late." No, we didn't. We just waited 2 weeks to release this.
Surprise, motherfuckers.
Now
That's all.
now we have to put a thing out about Matt Hoffman too.
The BMX biker.
Yeah, the BMX biker, the one that buried people in leaves in his house.
That's all.
His bike got stuck in the tree.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
60,
That's what it was.
60-foot tree, right?
I think
Yep.
that's happened.
Right down the hollow tree. Someone took it apart and then capped the tree with a wheel.
Well, you just gave away our whole episode.
Oh, damn it! Damn it! I'm sorry.
Did he win?
He did. Always.
did.
Always.
He did. He did.
Fucking Matt Hoffman. It's like, what's that guy? Sean White. He always won.
If by winning you mean he won a life sentence in prison, then yes.
Trophy.
Trophy.
Trophy,
They don't have
yeah.
no awards for that. Trophies.
So what do you
The
got?
Drake
man,
fans will get it.
for ideas for the show. What do you think for the podcast in general, for this beautiful establishment that we record in?
Number one, insulation. We've been talking about this since we
Oh,
started.
since day one. What do you got for us, Ashton?
Heat.
Well, we need insulation, then we could keep the heat.
But yeah, but you mentioned heat. What else we got? What do we need here?
Let me see. I don't know. I think the fan base is growing. I think we need to do something more interactive. You know, I like
Think
the
so?
idea of being live because we could do it one time. It either works or it doesn't. If it works, it could be something that we randomly do as a treat again.
Right.
And then, see how it goes. I think the fans, people have been approaching me personally just saying, they love the show. They especially love these two guys. They think you guys do a great job. So,
Thank you very much, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you.
and I definitely point them in the right direction. It's funny because I know just about everybody, but I might be a regular on the show. I'm just not
But we want you to come back more.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, we were like, where the fuck's Ashton been?
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Last one you were on was
Oh, God, I don't even remember.
Kimberly Morrow.
Kim Morrell.
And that was like episode...
3 or 4
Yeah.
or something.
We got to
I
get
don't
you
know.
back on more often.
Let me
Yeah, you
log
do.
in.
I'm actually thinking about maybe coming up with my own idea. I know you guys are open to even the fans leading the show if you do enough
Yeah.
research. And
Yeah.
Yeah, we sometimes I find it really hard to come up with topics. I kind of again behind the scenes but I let Adam kind of run the show as far as what we talk about. He takes care of a lot of the research, a lot of the notes. I do more of the editing, more of the technical stuff, like all the little upgrades we've gotten over the last however long. Those are kind of my responsibility. He's really good at telling the story, but even still, it's really hard to come up with story ideas. So the more ideas that people just, you're listening to us and you're like, oh, what would be a really good episode? I'd love to hear them cover X. We like those suggestions.
Well,
It makes
lately,
it easier.
that's what we've been doing is stories that people have
It's true.
told us to cover. But a lot of people that are listening are people from Maine lately, mostly at this point. And a lot of them are like, dude, these Maine stories. And I'm getting all these crazy emails about stuff that have happened
That
in
I don't get
different
to
areas.
Hey,
or people will personally message me. They figured out who I am. And
Yeah, people have
it's not
reached
that
out to
hard.
me, and I pointed them straight to this guy.
This is the Skelly Finger guy.
Yeah.
we had a decent amount of downloads today.
Did we?
Yep.
Great. And that thing doesn't really tell us the whole truth.
No, it doesn't. It only tells us unique downloads, which I guess gives you a good. Excuse me. It's the 56th beer. I think I backed up.
No,
No,
but
but
anyway.
going backwards. Okay.
Yeah, right. Thanks.
No, what do you
I'm
mean
glad
by
someone's
unique?
keeping track of my
What do
At
you
math.
mean by
some point,
unique?
you drink so many, you go backwards.
It's like when you smoke so much, you're sober.
You know what? Now that you're getting into this, we did get an email from a listener that says, "How do you start your own podcast?" Because we're not in some kind of studio. We're really in a
Why
shed.
don't you leave this in the inbox for
So-
me? I love looking at this. Okay, so
Early bird gets the worm.
well, no shit, but this guy's up at like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, no, it was actually, to be honest, it was a message that was sent directly to me from somebody I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't 2 hour. But I replied. I said, look, I said,
Which
you
he
need about
read at
250
3:30 in the morning.
You need
Yep.
about $250 in a dream. And,
Yeah, basically.
yeah. And where's your ding?
I think that I'm looking at stats. Hold on. Where's the magic sound?
You're getting better at this. Thank
It's
you.
like half a magic sound. So that wasn't an email?
No, it was a message that was sent directly to me. But
Oh, okay.
anyway, so anyways, not to go way off, but why
Yeah,
don't you talk about how do you start a podcast?
How do we start a podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it depends on what you want to do with it. If you want it to be just you kind of talking about stuff, it's very, very, very cheap. You can just get a USB microphone, and if you have a Windows computer, you use Audacity. And if you have a Mac, I personally prefer GarageBand. I know I've got GarageBand on my MacBook Pro. You've got it on your Pro.
Yeah.
And we use GarageBand to record on my crappy white MacBook that sits out back of this nice upgrade that we actually just started tonight. We got a nice big screen that's going to display all of our notes and any pictures. So like when we do decide to go live or we decide to put cameras up, we'll be able to pull up pictures and different things to show you guys. If you want it to just be you, it's really cheap. Like I said, just get the USB mic and use the software and record from there. If you want to do multiple mics, you want to have guests, you want to...
Which you
you wanna
probably
do-
would want.
I guess, yeah. I guess it just depends on what you want to do with your podcast.
Yeah.
But if you want to have multiple mics, multiple inputs going on, the best thing you can do is get yourself a mixer and get yourself some microphones. I think we got our whole kit for what? I think you said $250, $300.
About 250,
Yeah.
300, yeah.
We got 4 mics. We have 4 swivel stands. We have pop filters. They're this little... I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a...
I actually just
like
put
a
a picture
thing.
on Facebook today.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
anyway, it's that thing that looks like it's sitting over our microphones. It's called a pop filter, and it takes away the hard P and the hard B sounds. You get the mixing board. There's a mixing board that you can get, and you can get one that has 2 inputs, 4 inputs. You can go all the way up to I think 16 inputs or
Yeah.
something crazy.
Make them a list, Jake. Just
Well,
make
that's what I'm doing.
Well, I mean,
Maybe I should just write it all in a post.
right.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's
There you
real
go.
easy to kind of do your own thing. And
Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but really it's not. I think it took Adam and I, and I'm technically inclined, but even I couldn't figure this out because I knew nothing about recording equipment. But I think it took him and I an hour to figure it out.
Throw
It
it all
really
together.
wasn't bad.
To sum it up, it really does take a dream, right?
You got to really be dedicated to do it because
You know what? Probably takes. I listened to this guy Adam a bunch of times. Saying that he liked to do something different and be his own man. So it really takes maybe going through some stuff, experiencing some stuff, and then coming to a realization that
just do it.
yeah,
Just do it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you can do for yourself is just do it.
well, you take something like this, and then you think, what's the next step?
Right.
Well, then it's like, we'll set up the Patreon. But then you almost like view things like, where could you be in like 5 years? It's like, well, maybe you got a hood, and then you got maybe other people doing podcasts and kind of just doing your own thing where
Right.
you're not necessarily stuck doing the 9 to 5 that you don't want to be doing all the time, where you're more doing your thing.
That's where I'd like to be.
I mean,
at some point.
that'd be a huge jump for something like this, but
Right.
if you think that way, then you're just going to be looking for those small improvements.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever think about where this could lead and how you would feel about it if it actually took off? Like, me personally, I've thought about if this does take off and it does get really big, and I'm able to actually quit my 9 to 5. Does that ever scare you at all? Like at all? It I guess I'm scared of the unknown part of it,
Right.
more than anything else. You know what I mean?
You know, and you know what? You just take it one step at a time from what I've seen. But you know what? In real life and in the shed, Ashton's got a bolt here, so he's going to give a real quick run. He's going to take off home.
That's perfect. We can take a quick break.
Yeah.
We can come back, just you and I.
Sure. So, hey, man, we'll see you next time you come on.
Man,
Thanks
I
for coming
appreciate
out.
you guys for having me on, and I hope the listeners keep listening, and everyone's reaching out to me, and I'll point them in the direction of these two guys. So I hope to be on the show soon. Hopefully I come up with my own idea. I like to maybe do my own research, and I hate to say it, Jake, but I'm a fan of murder and mystery, so you're going to have to just...
No, that's cool.
Find it. You know the email. Send it to it. We'll make it happen. We'll
right.
we'll do this again.
And then maybe the fans can, send me, some requests or maybe something they like to hear me on.
Right.
Maybe I'll review it.
That'd be perfect. Yeah.
Right.
People that are listening, do that. And we'll see you next time, man.
All right.
Drive safe.
Yep. Have a good night. Just the two of us, Adam.
Yeah.
This
Ashton's,
doesn't happen very much.
I know. Not lately.
No, not lately.
Well, we got this, like you said earlier, this 4-mic setup, so it's kind of fun to have somebody on with us.
I enjoy having guests a lot. Excuse me.
I do too.
Yep, it adds another voice to the show. Not only that, but it's going to give us opportunity to see things a way that we wouldn't normally see it.
Yep, definitely
That's
fun.
what I like about it. We still need to do more upgrades aside from the heat. I really like this monitor idea. I'm glad that I brought that tonight. I felt that it helped us stay on track a little better. I did notice that we had some. I feel like we had some times though where maybe we jumped ahead and then had to backtrack a little bit.
You know what? We didn't even really use any of the scripting. We
Not
all
really.
just kind of did our homework and we told a story, which just made it kind of easier. We just had that in case we needed it for certain parts, so it kind of worked.
Right, and I found this story when I was watching YouTube and listening to the couple podcasts you had sent me. I think one was what was it? Color Me something.
You know, the Generation Y guys are pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good one. That one was more informative than the other one.
Shout out to them. If you guys hear this, shout out to you.
Yep.
Sirs.
I'm sure you need that from a podcast with 100 listeners.
You know what, though? We're 100 strong.
That's right.
We don't know. We don't know. We just know the unique...
Strength in numbers.
We just know the unique downloads. We don't know the people streaming, which I would assume would be a much higher number.
Right.
And I've been told that by other people, so...
Oh, I'm sure. Plus the YouTube streams or the YouTube watches, however those are
So
called.
I would say
don't know how many of that works.
probably, over 1,000 regular people, just based on from what I was told.
I don't know.
But we'll see. Who cares? Anyways,
Yes, exactly.
we're getting-
doing it for fun.
we're getting a bunch of feedback.
Yep.
We're getting all kinds of emails and stuff, which is great.
Yeah, that you don't let me read. You go through it at 3:30 in the morning. Fucking rude. No, I really like that monitor. That helps a lot. There's got to be a way. I feel like at some point we're gonna have to run 2 laptops. Running 3 is a lot. I mean, it's doable. It's not a problem, but I just feel like it's a lot of equipment.
Yeah,
and we're
we'll
gonna be
figure that
pulling
out.
it in and out of the shed every week. It's just a lot to carry.
Yeah, and if any of the listeners have any ideas for how we could make moving our... Because every time we do this, we pack it up.
Right.
We bring it in the house.
We put it in my suitcase
If
that I use
anybody's
to
got
travel to
any
California.
recommendations, let us know, so help us out with
Yeah, right.
making this process easier.
Well, I already know what any person with half a brain is going to say. They're going to be like, "Oh, we'll just use one computer to do it all." And I wish we could do that. Part of the problem though is if we want to bring stuff up, my computer is, I wouldn't say severely underpowered, but it's a 2010 MacBook Pro. It's not anything new by any stretch, and I found that the new Mac OS is a resource hog, and it's a lot. So we have one computer that records, which is my old MacBook from like 2007. And then I have my MacBook Pro that we use for sound effects and other little things. And then Adam's we use as kind of like a test pilot tonight to put the notes up on the monitor, and I liked the way that worked.
Now,
That worked out really well.
Not to change subjects, but what are your plans for the summer?
As far as
Beautiful weather and not, we keep talking about how cold we are, not being fucking cold and getting out there and doing
God.
what you want to do with
Yeah.
your life in summer and in
God.
Maine. What's your plans, man?
Summer, well, I got to get back in shape. Everyone puts on a little extra weight in the winter, at least up here.
We got to get hiking, man.
Yeah,
we drink
I
too
agree.
many beers and we sit in the shed
Oh,
too
no
much.
shit, dude. I know. I'm glad I'm not drinking the twisted tea anymore, though. Not nearly as much.
We're messing with the natural life patterns of Dino by coming in here.
I know, right? We're
every
screwing him all
Friday
up. Fucking
and
stomping on his
warming
roof.
the shed up and warming him up underneath the shed. And
Right.
he's moving around a bit every once in a while. So
Well, part of the problem is you sealed off his door, too, so he can't come in and join us.
Dino strong, baby.
Dino's strong. He'll figure it out.
So, anyways, man, yeah. So, what were we
summer.
saying?
Well, I got a project car I got to finish this year. If I hadn't talked about this before, this is a perfect opportunity to bring it up, I guess. I got an old project Saab that I'm trying to put together. I know I've been telling you about it for a couple of years, but you've never seen it, so I'd like to finish that. I want to get out hiking more for sure. The couple hikes we did last year were great, but I found that after coming down, like your legs just want to give up. So I got to get in better. Yeah, I got to get in better shape to do that. I want to start doing that more. I got a friggin' really nice mountain bike that I barely use. I'd like to get out and do that some more.
We've got a shit ton of real beautiful mountains out in the western part of the state,
We really do.
and I definitely want to get out hiking quite a bit more this summer.
Yep. You just got a bow, or you've had a bow.
I've had about. You know what? Here's the thing. My wife Sarah, she just recently took on a new job. And
Congratulations to her.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be great because historically I worked during the day and she worked at night.
And that makes it hard.
It's very hard because we get two kids, and now we're gonna be working at the same time. So I'm gonna have every night, with the family, and every weekend with the family. So it's gonna be easier to plan hikes. Like we can go Saturday or Sunday, or
Right.
So yeah, to go back to the bow, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get back, do some bow hunting this year. Get out, do
Nice.
some more rifle hunting. Ashton, who just left, is gonna be taking hunter safety, and I'm gonna pay for it under the stipulation that he takes my son with him.
Yep.
And they're gonna be doing that
Perfect.
this year, somewhere here in Lewiston.
Yep.
So they'll be out hunting with me. So I'm looking forward to that. Not so much going right through the summer and getting the fall, but
Did you get any ice fishing done this year?
I haven't. And that's another thing. I love ice fishing, but again,
You've been trying to get me to go out. I refuse to go out on the ice. I am like the biggest non-Mainer that lives in Maine.
and I've been wanting to get out ice fishing, but my wife works the opposite schedule as I do,
Right.
so it's like Saturdays is our day off together. So I always feel guilty going fishing for the day when I could be spending time with her and the boys.
Yeah, right.
So I haven't gotten out yet, but
It'll be nice to have everyone home. Be nice for you guys too.
the new normal life.
Yep. It's not really normal to you now. You've been doing it the other way for so long.
Yeah.
It'll be a good change. It's going to make it easier for us as far as recording on Friday nights too. We were talking about this because we don't typically record till your wife would get home, which was later on in the evening.
At least 8 o'clock usually.
Yeah, and we'd be out here some nights till 11:30 at night, the longest ones. Right? For what's it right now? 10:30, something like that.
Yeah.
Which isn't crazy late, but it's still, we do it on Friday night because we have to do it late. It's going to be nice if we want to do an episode like this, where it's just kind of us talking, having a chill out session after recording. It's going to be nice because we can just come out on a Wednesday night and just shoot the shit and make an episode like this that we could release later on a Patreon account or something like that.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm kind of hoping for is to get a spike in the emails or the social media.
I'm hoping
stuff.
to see a email.
I know.
and
sorry.
email,
You
excuse
know what,
me,
I'm gonna
not
leave
good
it,
English.
I'm going to leave it alone for you. I'll leave
Thanks.
it alone. Let you monitor it this weekend. But
I just want to see an email in my inbox. Every time I open it up, I'm like, nobody likes us.
no, I just maybe we could discuss those or different ideas, different things. Not necessarily murder and death and all that, but
That would be
other
a
things
nice,
that are going on.
That would be a nice change too. I think I said it earlier, but I don't mind the true crime. Like the true crime thing is interesting, but the murder and the death and we've done a lot. We've got like what, maybe 20 episodes, and how many episodes have we covered where a minor gets brutally murdered or goes missing or whatever, all these terrible things. Like I guess it just wears on you mentally. I would like to do more episodes where it's different types of crime, like that Maurice Pasta last name, dude.
But he was murdered, dude.
Well, I understand that, but I don't know. To me, it had a different twist because it
Why? Because he
more
was an older man that got
thing.
popped a couple times instead of being a kid tied up, thrown into a brook.
Yeah. I guess that does add a different level to it.
That does make it different.
But the story focused not so much on his murder, but more the finance side of it, because he was in finance and he took over the biggest bank in Puerto Rico and was flown in from New Jersey. People didn't like him because he was uncovering all this bad shit that was going on. I don't know. It had a different twist than 3 8-year-old boys left in a creek, one with his dick cut off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not as depressing. So I'm gonna be excited to do episodes more that like people aren't dying.
Yeah, because really the way this works is we have a hosting subscription, and we're only using about half of our allotted space, and that is partially due. See, originally when we started, we were able to get about 3 or 4 episodes a month in because I was uploading files, and they were a quarter of our storage for the month, and I'm like, holy shit, we got to find a way to cut these down. And I started doing some research, and I'm growing. I'm learning how to do all the editing and stuff, and how to shrink files, make it all fit. Editing pros, email us.
And I've got it down now that we can probably get 8 or 10 within our storage a month. So we'd like to start taking advantage of that.
Yeah. But also, with every time we do an episode, it is costly in some regards. So there's also that too, heat in the shed, the lights, everything. So
right.
But we'll figure it out.
Well, I know the subscription doesn't cost me all that much, and really, aside from you know what, there's more. I'm not really paying the lights. This is at your place, so.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, we've got a lot of people saying, and it's weird to think like, oh, why don't you have a Patreon? I would subscribe. It's like, what?
I know.
It's just weird because we're like just hanging out, talking about
whatever
this and that story. Lately, the stories that people have been recommending
right.
to us, the last 3,
yeah,
it was a listener.
Yeah,
and
you're
actually,
right.
A lot of the ones upcoming are as well.
Our listener suggestions.
The exception of the next, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, the Fire Festival was my idea.
Yeah.
That's going to be next week's. To go back a little bit to how do you start your own podcast, that question that we got. I found the first couple episodes were some of the oddest. It was a different experience because you feel like it's just us talking, but you have an audience. I don't know. It feels like an audience the first couple, but once you get used to it, I think it took me like 4 or 5 to get comfortable on microphone.
Yeah, definitely comfortable now, and it's funny because we've had some other guests, which will remain nameless, and there's a couple I can think of that were so prepared. They were so prepared. In fact, we sent them the notes, and they were like, you know what, these notes are great. I'm going to write my own notes, and they had the story memorized. And then as soon as you hit play on the MacBook, and you heard,
oh my God, just freeze.
Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah, stage fright.
And then it started stage fright.
Stage fright. It's what it is.
Like they were naked at the Merrill Auditorium in front of a full house kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you're right.
You know this, so it is kind of hard.
It is. It is definitely hard. The first couple that you do, I promise you're going to feel awkward. You're going to listen to yourself and you're going to be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What is this? And you're probably going to be very, what's the word? You're basically not gonna want to publish your first episode, but you gotta just push yourself to do it. Just do it, because if you don't try, you're always gonna kick yourself, I guess.
Yeah, we're about 20 deep now, and you definitely can see the progress as we've gone on for sure from episode 1. Which it's funny because it's definitely a defining episode for us.
Yeah, it's weird. I think that one has the most downloads for us.
Ayla Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it makes sense. It would be the most downloads because it's the first one,
right?
But there's a lot of people that really care about that family and care about that child.
If I could, I would go back and re-edit that episode and just kind of clean it up a little bit more. Unfortunately, my computer shit the bed, and I lost all the originals for I think the whole first season.
It's funny because as I was getting ready for work today, I was thinking, oh, I wish we would have held off on that one and maybe done it
I know.
10, 15 deep.
Yep.
Because it was such a big story.
And it was good.
and
It
then
got us a lot of downloads.
And then we had cockpits and wieners.
Yeah, which was ridiculous. I don't know who the hell thought that was a good idea. We both did, clearly, because we recorded it when we put it out.
We didn't know what to do. We weren't getting
No.
emails from people at that point. We were just like, yeah, we'll do some interesting stuff. We had no direction
Right.
for what we were doing.
And as we started putting the show together, we're like, these stories are not big enough to make a full episode out of. So we put 2 stories together, and I felt like it didn't do all that well. I was not really impressed with it.
It was like a dumb episode of Reading Rainbow. In a way. It's like, I don't know why. It's just,
Yeah. It wasn't. I was not impressed with it.
yeah. So take this episode maybe as a plea to message us, give us some ideas.
Yeah, we're on our hands and knees right now. I wish you could see Adam.
This is
He's
it.
in his dick sucking position.
Jesus. Jesus.
Jesus.
But no, shoot us an email, give us some suggestions. Shoot us, a lot of the local people here are in communication with us. Shoot us some ideas, and we will see what we can do here. Try to throw together some crazy
we want to have
episodes in the future.
We've been throwing around the idea of trying to get some more people on, just to talk about different stories. I don't know. It feels kind of weird to invite people you don't really know onto the show.
Yeah.
But we're throwing around the idea.
Yeah, we're trying to. If you have some kind of crazy story, and share it with us, and maybe we can kind of make it happen. Yeah.
It's up to you, really.
Yeah, we could figure it out, you know what I mean? Or in some way, maybe we could tell the story, if not. But
Maybe we could do a call-in thing.
yeah, we have the setup to do by phone. So, I mean, really,
Yep.
we could do anybody's story in any way.
Right. We could
So-
figure it out.
Yeah, all you got to do is reach out to us. And I guess this would probably be a good
Yeah.
point to do a little social media plug. What do we got on that?
You guys know it all. Do I really have to plug it on this episode? I'm going to make you plug it this time.
You know what? Hit
You
us
do
up.
it.
Hit us up at our email at sftspodcast@gmail.com. Send all your story ideas there. Send your critiques there. Find us on Facebook at Stories from the Shed. Like our page, and you know what? Share our page with everybody, because the more shares we get, the
You're
more.
such a good salesman.
Well, no, listen. The more shares we get, the more we get out there.
No, you're right.
And if you like our podcast, this is a local podcast here in Maine.
Did you say you were a used car salesman at one point?
I used to be, and I was a jewelry salesman.
Okay,
too,
I can
but-
hear it in your voice right now.
But no, if you like us and you want us to grow, I mean,
I don't want the extended warranty.
we're not getting rich off this. We haven't made $1 yet. We don't really necessarily care about that. We just would like to see, everything continue to grow and as fast as possible.
Yeah, Adam
So-
wants out of his 9 to 5.
Share our podcast. Tell a friend. Tell your family. And you can also find us on Instagram. What is it? Stories from the Shed podcast?
Correct.
I can't see from that far away.
Oh, this is where the big monitor comes in.
YouTube, Stories from the Shed podcast. Twitter, @Stories from the Shed.
Y'all motherfuckers on Twitter are crazy. I try to stay so far away from Twitter. I think I deleted that app from my phone.
Twitter's not the funnest.
It's really not.
And again, please shoot us emails at sftspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to our episode 1 of
Uncapped.
Uncapped. Yes, thank you. And again, we love it. We love doing this.
This is my favorite thing to do during the week.
Yep, we look forward to this
Honest to
every
God.
Friday. Continue to
Yep.
send the emails and continue to share. And thank you. And
Good night.
see you next week. Bye.